The representation of women in magazines causes women to be seen as objects. We hypothesize that through our research that the objectification of women in magazines significantly devalues them as has multiple effects on wider public views. This includes factors such as low percentage of women in higher offices such as politics, uh, the sexualization of young girls, and the influence of their promiscuity.
Objectification, the action of degrading someone to the status of a mere object. The objectification of women as sexual possessions. The expression of something abstract in a concrete form. The objectification of images may be astonishingly vivid in dreams.
The over-sexualization of these women on the magazine covers has had women considered less capable than their male counterparts to fulfill these demanding roles. Douglas 2010 even argued that the media's presentation of these paths to empowerment convinces some women that equality has been achieved, which may lead them to ignore the conditions experienced by girls and women in real life. And even when women are presented as capable, their sexuality is often put in front of their platforms or ideas. Brinkman suggests that these images may seem well-intentioned, such as women presidents or female superheroes, but it actually undermines social change by preventing viewers from feeling a need to be a part of a social movement. Shortly after its founding in 1992, the Conservative Independent Women's Forum published the Media Directory of Women Experts, which listed knowledgeable women who could provide balanced commentary on timely issues for these magazines. The intent was to supply journalists with names of women who could offer conservative analyses of issues usually considered to be the purview of feminists. The idea of women being able to control their representation of these manipulated idols and thus the outer world is not only disputed by men but also by women, wherein how this important gender-neutral female representation should be used is usually under question with different beliefs in feminist ideals. Often women in magazines are criticised for not speaking on women's rights when they have this platform, yet they might not have achieved their position if they had spoken about this. With scholars such as Baran stating that the media are central to the creation and maintenance of both our dominant culture and our various bonded cultures, women's over-sexualization in magazines is a reinforcement of this male domination. The ritual communication model finalises the idea that in modern society, using the hegemonic forces of the media to impart ideas can have finalised results. With Brinkman researching that children and young adults spend on average 53 hours per week consuming media, it is no wonder it has lasting effects. Studies have proved that girls and women are often influenced in negative ways by the images they see, such as on magazine covers. And the theory of cognitive dissonance states that if they could protect themselves from these negative influences, they would, and would be more likely to engage in media literary activism behaviours. Nicki Minaj's recent November 2017 Paper magazine cover is a perfect example of objectification of women in magazines. Yet it can be commented that women who try to own their sexuality, as Minaj does, emphasize it to take control of their femininity rather than letting the male-dominated media do so, and thus make a feminist stand. Minaj has always been controversially looked upon for the sexual nature and the age of her young fans. Her tracks like Anaconda and the video which came with it caused media outcries from her forceful approach to sexuality and feminism. The music video called Controversial Views, with some feminists hailing it as a stand for gender equality. It also takes into question whether such behaviours influences young girls in a negative way. Do such music videos and the magazine covers which Nicki Minaj likes to produce put an emphasis on sex which causes promiscuity and early sexualization of girls which forces them to view themselves in a negative light? Even women who are not born women are quickly sexualized. Transsexual actress Laverne Cox has been over-sexualized in her time in the spotlight. She herself admits that if you've lived in the world as a man with the privilege the world accords to men, and then sort of changed, switch gender, it's difficult for me to accept that then we can equate your experience with the experience of a woman who has lived from the beginning in the world as a woman. the misogyny in the media and that which Laverne Cox has gone through herself, she still argues that as a trans woman she has male privilege. Despite articles being written where her sexuality was the main focus of the article, TMZ wrote, "Orange is the new black star, Laverne Cox hit the beach, strapping up a sexy black swimsuit in lieu of her prison orange, and the result was almost too hot to handle." Though her work as an actress is slightly mentioned, it's her position as a sexual female which is the focus of the story and photographed for the magazine. Her sexuality has been manipulated for the male gaze rather than the confidence of her owning her sexuality as a transgender woman.
Celebrities are the most prominent ones that you don't really think of as being role models, but they are, because they're in your attention all the time, and if they're promoting feminism and stuff, then yeah, they're quite important. It affects me subconsciously because whatever I see on Instagram or the media or whatever, like I'm like, oh my god, I want to look like that. But I think for teenage girls it's the worst, and I think that's a lot where like eating disorders and like the need for like plastic surgery comes from.
Earlier this year, Insider released an article on the outfits worn at the MTV Awards and quickly sexualized Millie Bobby Brown. Fortunately, other outlets were quick to see the mindlessness of commenting on a young girl's outfit for being quote-unquote shapeless, as MTV wrote. The title of the article was, "The 13-year-old Best Actor in a TV Show winner rocked a long-sleeve shift dress and a pair of white cowboy boots to mark her red carpet debut at this year's bash, an outfit that Insider have sledged for being quote-unquote shapeless." It caused a media storm for how quick the media is to sexualize women in high-profile jobs and demean their success. Jennifer Lawrence is an Oscar and Golden Globe award-winning actress, yet her role alongside Chris Pratt in the film Passengers in 2016 caused controversy and a focus on her as the temptress rather than her acting capabilities. Lawrence was controversially paid more than her male counterpart, $20 million to his $12 million, which makes a feminist stand against the gender pay gap. Nevertheless, the media attention was on her for speculations of ruining his marriage to Anna Faris. Articles included, such as in Teen Vogue, fans accuse Jennifer Lawrence of causing Chris Pratt and Anna Faris' breakup, cleverly manipulated the views of fans to create controversy.
I think it's like marginally more than man's, obviously, like than men's appearance to peers, but yeah, I definitely think it's more than like men's. Obviously, like when little girls are growing up, they see that on TV and on like social media, and they're trying to shoot for something that's unattainable. So I think the fact that like everything is airbrush nowadays, it's kind of insane. Like no one is what they look like, so.
Women want to look like what we see in the magazines. Even during like the World War, I think it was World War II, I want to say that even with all the scarcity of products, women were still, the sales in lipstick skyrocketed. Women were still wanting to look their best. I think it's human nature to want to look attractive, to want to look like the images that you see in the media. I do believe that's why we have to have a diversification of images, though, so that everyone can see themselves in what they see in the media. I think that's the piece that we're missing.
Personally, I know my mum's best friend's daughter, who's like 14, has become very revealing on social media, and like the clothes she wears, like she's posted photos in bikinis, and I'm like, you're like 14 or 15, and it's not really appropriate.
Through our study, we found that of our respondents, 93.3% responded saying that women are, in fact, objectified in the media. 88% of the response agreed that young girls feel unhappy with the way that they look, and 92 agreed that women feel pressured to conform to certain standards from the media. There was a strong response to an open-ended question regarding Photoshop. Their responses ranged from, what do you expect? They're models. They have to conform to that type of body type. And to others that were much more displeased, such as, this isn't okay. This is showing women what to look like when it's not even real. And what we found really interesting was only 67.57% actually agreed that women feel pressured to act a certain way because of these stereotypes that are created.
When I was younger, I saw the supermodels on the magazine covers. I saw the gorgeous actresses in movies and on TV, and my idea of what beauty was sort of just diminished. It wasn't even a thing, because I thought, if I'm the ugliest person in the world, where does that standard of beauty even begin? You can put makeup on and you can do your hair and you can do all of these things, but when you go to bed at night and you put your head on that pillow and you take the makeup off and you're stripped down to just you, what do you have? You have what's on your inside. You have your personality, you have your values, you have the things that mean the most to you, you have your dreams. Those things are what make you beautiful.
Yeah, we found out that women are over-sexualized in today's culture. Women that you see in magazines and articles, they're objectified, like they're not presented as regular human beings. They're made to be sexual beings for male pleasure. And you can tell that the accomplishments of the women that you may see aren't as prevalent as how she may look within the article. They put in poses that are more sexual than what a man would be put in. Like they're not presented as respectable people that you would look at their accomplishments and say that's an accomplished person. You would just look at them and say that's a good looking that's a good looking person. You're not valuing them for their accomplishments, more so for their beauty.